Okay, we are live for day 3 of the year We Rise. As usual, going through the tech bits to set us up. So those of you seeing these first few seconds, you're watching the replay. So remember to comment below as though you're participating live. I read everything. I didn't get a chance to yesterday, in fact. So I will be going through, hello those of you joining, I will be going through those comments. Over the next few days, I love to read everything that you're putting in the homeworks, below the live sessions, just to see where you're at and what you're navigating, what you're building. Right, let's find the live. Good morning, yay, good to see people coming in. Ladies, let's do the test. Let's test the chat. Can you pop whatever you feel motivated to pop in the chat for me? And we'll make sure that it's working on my phone. Okay, that's now pinned to the featured. Oh, I can see it's one person's name's popped up, not any chat, but Caroline, welcome this morning. Welcome, darling. Sometimes someone's name will pop up. It doesn't always happen. Let's see if the comments are working on my laptop. Yes, Ella, good morning. Oh, I can see Anita's entered the room. Kim, beautiful. Okay, we're going to give people a few moments to find us. I know this morning particularly, good morning, Anita. Good morning, Caroline. Rebecca, darling, good morning, good morning. I know this morning particularly, quite a few of you messaged me to say that you're going to be watching this on replay because you've got work things or you're at work this morning. So today's going to be the most powerful session of all 3. And there's a reason that I leave this work to once we've created some momentum, because this could feel like a bit of a shock to do this on the first day. It's really useful for the mind and the body and the heart to warm up to the work that we're doing today. There's a reason that I do it in the order that we do it. It's to do with your biology, it's to do with psychology, it's to do with subconscious programming, that we do it in a specific order so as to set you up for success, so that what we're covering today lands the way that it's going to land. And I'm not sure if I'm going to delete these lives. I might actually keep them in the group. We don't usually do that. We delete them after we've done an event. I might leave them in, and I recommend that you watch these lives again and potentially watch them in the same order. If it's been a period of time you've not done them, watch them in the same order. I'm going to go through in a moment why. I'd love first for you to drop in the chat. If you've been on day 1 or day 2 or you've watched the replays, what's the biggest thing that's landed for you so far? Like, what is this event, what are these lives, what has participating meant to you so far? Good morning, Jays. Hello, hello. It makes me giggle because I picked up that hello, hello from one of my coaches. And she says it on her lives, and I hear myself saying it, I'm like, isn't it funny how something resonates for us, and then we start doing it as well. So what has landed for you? And as you're writing that, I'm going to go through like why we're doing what we're doing in the order that we're doing it, because it's going to serve you to know, right? Because when it comes to your own journey as well, you're going to be able to implement things in the same order. And then I'll go through some sexy admin, because of course we have the prize draw, we have the masterclass upcoming, and then we have the offers for the school. I've now got the numbers. I didn't bring them yesterday. So the reason we did them in this order is the following. For us to look at the more challenging things, for us to be excited about focusing on the effort towards the ease, the effort to get what we want, the committing to something that requires more presence, more mental strength, more resilience, more repetition. It's creating that activation, that desire, focusing on the pain you're moving away from and the pleasure you're moving towards, creates more of a hunger more of the emotional investment in what you're doing, so that when it comes to the truth of what creates change, which is there are moments it's hard, there are moments it's challenging, there are moments that fear and resistance comes up. This is part of the journey. It's normal, yeah, because focusing on a vision and a goal is also healing. Yeah, it's getting rid of programs and habits that aren't serving you for you to have what you want. We have that build up. We shift what maybe has been for you overwhelm, procrastination, anxiety, freeze response. We're shifting that in the first few days so that when we get into today, because today we're talking about the science and psychology of change, the science and psychology of getting everything you want, of moving past resistance, of moving past fear. And so it's that build up to the truth bombs and to the mirror to realize, oh, this is it, and I'm ready for it. Because if we go from anxiety, procrastination, straight into the truth, it can be like, oh, too much to hold. So I invite, as you listen, as you feel, as you sense what we're going through today, is to let it land gently. Don't force it in, just let it land gently. Because we're going to be talking about nervous system, biology, subconscious. It's the science behind what gets in your way. And it will be through storytelling. So you're going to hear things and you're going to go, oh, I do that. That's me. Oh, yes, I feel called out. I feel like you're talking directly to me right now. And this is one of the beautiful things of these sessions. Yeah, it's about having all of these aha moments. Okay. Let me come to, I'm going to do this in order, and I'm speaking the order to you so you can hold me accountable to the order, ladies. Hold me accountable. I'm going to go through your comments. Then we're going to go through the sexy admin. Call me out if I don't do it, because sometimes I get all excited and I forget the admin. And then we're going to go into the really sexy stuff we're doing today. Oh, there's lots of comments. I love this. Good morning, Mimi. So Kim, to gently observe when and why I self-sabotage. And we even get to reframe what self-sabotage is. We can understand that including the internal family system of sabotage desires good for you. It purely believes that to get it, you have to go in a certain direction and repeat certain patterns. We'll talk about, I know, Kim, you're signed up for the second round of the cert. We are going to go deep into internal family systems and those frameworks so you can understand them. Yeah, you can understand them to help others with them, but also for your own journey. Matilda, good morning, listening while I'm in the office. Oh, I love that. Are you like secretly listening whilst in the office? Do you have your headphones in? Few powerful reminders. Success is a regular contemplation and feeling of what you desire and consistent aligned action towards it. Yes, Ella, yes. So I work with two main coaches and mentors, one of whom I've been working with. Well, I worked with her for free for a while because I was going to all of her free stuff like this, right? And then I started working with her paid. I don't know if it's 2 or 3 years ago. I'm actually going to be sharing a bit of that story because it was a huge turning point in my life. And then there's another coach I've been working with for probably coming up to 2 years. I'm not quite sure of the timeline. And I'm consistently, almost on a daily basis, sometimes I take pauses, listening to them and other teachers and mentors and guides. It's about the thought forms, it's about the exposure, it's about choosing where the mind focuses on a regular basis and being in the rooms and the conversations that create that continual desire towards aligned action, desire to focus on the good, even in the hard things, the desire with non-attachment to move towards a goal. You know, it's that on a daily basis, daily basis, daily basis. It's not these big things, it's the little things regularly. I mean, one of the things I've shared with my students is I've now invested 10,000 euros. It's been in chunks to be in a space where I ask questions. That's the only thing the space is about. I'm in there for like a year and a half, and the space is about asking questions. And I value being in that space beyond 10,000 because of knowing that I can go in there and ask questions in real time as stuff is coming up in my journey. And it's making me a huge amount of money in return, because maybe I'm employing a strategy, maybe I'm going through something, maybe a shadow's coming to the surface, maybe a program that's limiting me is coming up, and I just go into the space, I talk it through, I shift it, I move. Yeah, it's not being in that state for extended periods of time. I see something, I see the freeze response, the fight response, the flight response, I see the anger, the frustration, the anxiety, the overwhelm. I'm like, well, those don't serve me. Something's coming to the surface that wants to be cleared. So I go into the space and I clear it and I continue my day. Or I ask for some pointers, or I ask to be witnessed. Can you witness this? I'm going through it. This is the thing for those of you, I love how your comments, they trigger responses, right? Those of you who hold space for others, and the higher the level of space that you're holding, or the more people that you're holding, the higher the space you want to be held in. It is in integrity for those of us who are in service to others, who give, that we also receive. It is out of integrity to be in a space of only giving and not receiving, only holding and not being held. It does not matter how many thousands upon thousands of hours of experience you have. Being held is vital when you are holding others. For your nervous system, for your well-being, for your ego, for your spiritual growth, everything. There is so much we do not yet know that we cannot see when the only one reflecting it back to us is ourselves. That we do not have the mirror of someone else or another space reflecting back to us, showing us the parts, the back of your head, the bottom of your arse. You can't see those. You need somebody else to reflect those to you. And there are parts of you you do not know, you do not see, and you cannot unless you're in an environment that shows it to you. Emotion creates motion, action. Yes. In challenging emotions can create more motion and action than the nice ones. So the challenging ones also serve us. If we can frame them towards growth and an ever more trusting relationship with self, versus self-destruction and self-depreciation. I love this, giving me momentum and a push to get up and do what I need to do what I want. How to look at discomfort and pain, and perhaps with the perspective of duality. Yes. It is not that we tolerate pain, it's we understand the role it plays to create the hunger to greater levels of healing, to create the desire to take action towards healing karmic bonds, meeting our shadows, accepting ourselves on greater levels. So it is not that we seek pain, it is not that we tolerate it, it's we understand how it serves us and we remove the label of it being bad or wrong. We remove the resistance to it because it's the resistance to the pain that causes suffering. I know some of you will know this already and you will have heard it before. Maybe today it lands just in that perfect moment for you. Pain is an inevitable part of being a human and living in a world of duality. Suffering is not inevitable. Suffering is caused by the meaning we give to the things we're experiencing. You know, Buddha talked about this. Eckhart Tolle talks about this, or Tolle, however you say it. It is the thought, it is the story, it's the belief around the things. That's what causes suffering. Our attachment to the things, to who we are, to who we should be, to what is required for us to be loved. Oh, I love that this stood out for you, Ella, rephrasing our language to more empowering one. Language is everything. Words are spells. What is the spell you cast on yourself? If you find, I find this sometimes, maybe you find that certain phrases really stand out for you, potentially that you've even heard hundreds of times before, and today it stands out. Maybe write those down. What happens if you don't follow through when you give up on yourself? What landed most? Watching them brought me the clarity of what I want to prioritize in 2026. And as well brought me the clarity what my next years and steps and growth want to look like. Yes. I loved reading your comments, Rebecca. To be able to go there with a calm nervous system and an ease and joy in my heart. Understanding and accepting that discomfort is a natural part of the growth process. Yes, amazing. I'm going to come back to these comments as you can see. I'm holding myself accountable to doing things in order. So some sexy admin, because we're already getting into like the teaching parts, and we've not even got into the main chunk of what we're doing today, the really, really powerful teachings. Like today we're going to be, you're going to hear elements, if you've studied these people, from Bob Proctor, Joe Dispenza, Tony Robbins, Bruce Lipton, who else? Guy Hendricks, Andrew Huberman. Yeah, there's going to be wisdom from a lot of teachers all coming into one global concept with multiple ways of describing it. We'll come to that in a second. So, prize draw, I'm going to draw the winner on Thursday. So we have a bonus session. I don't know if you saw the post in the group. We're going to have a bonus session. So if you've not voted in the poll for the time, make sure to vote in that. I will announce the winner to the prize draw on Thursday. And then Thursday is going to be a really potent session for those of you who want to understand twofold what it is we do in the school, like how it works, what we do in the school, like the different levels. I know some of you you're already considering it. You already know you want to join, whether it's now or later. And then there are those of you who you didn't know up until now, this very moment, you hadn't realized how much you want to be supported. You potentially, until joining the group, you're like, I didn't realize that I'm no longer willing to tolerate holding everything alone. You actually want support, you want guidance, you want to be stretched, you want growth to be normalized. And so you want to look at what a space like the school, what it feels like what we talk about, why women are excited to invest 10,000 euros in a space like this. Yeah. To give you an idea, and I'll talk about this more at the end of the session and then on Thursday. The beginning of this year, the first 5 days of 2026, I closed 27,000 euros in sales. They were all clients of mine renewing, upgrading, and adding things on in those 5 days. And we'd had a few sales before the end of the year as well. So this gives you an idea of how powerful the work is. Like joining a space like this, whether it's the school or somewhere else, it's about you resonating with the person leading it. Yeah. So for the school space, it's me. Entering a space like this, it wants to be a financial stretch. So the emotional commitment is profound. And secondly, because it shifts your relationship with money and your understanding of what is available to you. Because when women make the decision to join the school, for a lot of the women who join the school, it's a scary move. They've never invested at this level before. It's the first time. For some it's not, for a majority it is. When they choose to lead themselves to investing at that level, something in the nervous system shifts. There is a beginning of a normalizing of another level of income. The beginning of a normalizing of another level of abundance. Is saying, I am now choosing that this is my normal. I am now choosing that I get to invest in myself at this level. Something inside shifts. We're going to talk about this a little bit more today because I know a lot of you here in this space, you're business owners. If you're not, and the conversation around money isn't your thing right now, translate it to what is. Because healing our relationship as business owners with abundance and with money is life-changing. Because then your focus shifts from being concerned about the money coming in to focusing on what you're actually doing. To focusing on what you're passionate about, what you're growing, what excites you. And so this shift around, you're no longer worrying about the money and then shifting to this, because you could be making a lot and still worrying about the money. Yeah, it doesn't matter if lots is coming in. You can still be in anxiety. You could have loads in your savings right now. Some of you listening to this do. And in your mind, you're still in financial scarcity. And so this healing of, I choose to have a much more abundant life, things in your business shift as well. How much you charge shifts. How much you understand the importance of charging more shifts. You understand undercharging, what you're actually doing a disservice to the people that you serve. But this is a conversation for another day. So for those of you, let me finish that thought, those of you who you want to learn about this, you want to know why women are investing so much in this sort of support, come to Thursday. Yeah, whether you're thinking about the school now, at a later date, or you're just curious, come to Thursday. Also the masterclass, more of you have mentioned that you want to come to that. If you've not heard about the masterclass yet, and you're curious, just comment masterclass, I'll get those details to you. Okay. So today we're going to talk about the terror barrier, upper limits, identity gap, human needs, and your biology. So some of you have taken the terror barrier training with me, so you know what this is about. Now I took this training with one of my coaches, who took this training with one of her coaches. And there is a reason, so Hina Khan is the one who taught this, and what was her role with Bob Proctor? I wrote this down actually to make sure I got it right. Let's see if I can find it. So she was one of the top certified consultants for the programs like Thinking into Getting Results and from the Proctor Gallagher Institute. So she worked really closely with Bob Proctor's teachings, or I imagine continues to. She's really big in the coaching world. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is that something like the terror barrier training, and that's going to be the main thing that we focus on, because I love the way that it simplifies an internal process. It's because this is the biggest thing that makes the difference between those who constantly focus on what they want but never really get there, and those who not only get there, every single time they reach a place, they raise the bar. They reach their vision, they raise the bar. They reach a vision, they raise the bar. Not from need, because they can. Not from need, from the duality of desire with non-attachment. It's like, if I can, why not go there? If I can do this, I can do more. What does that get to look like? Let's play with that idea. And a huge part of this, or cornerstone of this, is our capacity to understand what fear truly is. To understand what is going on in the unconscious mind and what is going on a biological level. So when you think certain things and when you feel certain things, you can observe them and understand, oh, this is what this is. It is normal to feel this way. I don't have to retreat back to safety. I don't have to retreat back to the box I used to keep myself in. I can actually continue to move forwards, and I'm going to be okay. So today is about finding safety in uncertainty. It's about finding safety in the growing pains. It's about learning what it is to hold yourself as what you were dissolves and what you're becoming is birthed. It's really fucking big. So has anybody here, have you studied some of these? I've already mentioned a little bit so far, the 6 human needs. So this isn't just taught by Tony Robbins, but I'm using Tony Robbins' words. This has been taught by many, many teachers. So 6 human needs: safety, certainty, uncertainty, significance, contribution, and growth. Yeah, these are 6 human needs. These aren't just like cute little ideas. Andrew Huberman talks about this as well, on a biological level, because your biology has evolved based on tribal instincts, based on living in a tribal way, and it continues to do the same. So your human needs are connected to your biology. I remember years ago watching a session with Andrew Huberman where he was talking about our biology. I was like, yes, I finally get it. It made sense deeply why we feel so much hunger to be seen, to be loved, to be enough, to be worthy. And at the same time, we're like, but don't see me. I'm scared to be loved. You know, these contradicting things we can experience within ourselves, and it's biological. There's nothing wrong with you. You are biologically wired to think and feel a certain way for your physical form, the vessel that your soul is residing in this lifetime within. So your body is this biological machinery, this incredible biological technology that your soul is experiencing human form through, yeah? So you're walking around, think of like the games where you have an avatar and you choose an avatar. It's like, this time around, I'm gonna be that one. It's kind of what you're doing. You're going, oh, I'm gonna be that one this time. And I'm gonna have these abilities and I'm gonna play this game with this family. Let's go and be in that avatar. You are not only the avatar, you are also the one watching the avatar having the experience. And so when we can understand how the biological avatar within the game functions, we can understand you don't need to believe your thoughts. You don't even need to believe your emotions. You don't even need to believe your nervous system programs. It's about understanding them. Oh, I'm feeling anxiety right now. And you can understand it. This is what it is. Okay, how do I now choose to navigate the avatar? What are the thoughts that serve me to believe? What are the thoughts I choose to see and then put to one side? This is why meditation is so powerful. And we talk about regular meditation practice in the school. So you can see a thought and understand the form for what it is. It is a thing, it is a form, it is not you. You see the thought, you choose not to believe it, you consciously choose a thought that serves you, and you move forward with that thought. Even if the feeling is not yet in alignment with the thoughts you are choosing, there is a gap before the feeling catches up because the new program has been taken into the body, yeah, the unconscious and the nervous system. It takes a bit of time for the feeling to catch up with the thought and the action. This is what gets in so many people's way. Believing that the feeling has to be in alignment with the thought straight away. It won't be the case. There is the programmed feeling, the programmed response that has been within you for some time that will keep coming up and going, ah, I'm here, come here, come this way, because it's been programmed in. And so there is the repetition, choosing the new thought form, choosing a different action, and waiting for the identity gap, Joe Dispenza, to catch up. And this is where so many people give up, because this is one of the things that we learned when I first started out in fitness. We have a motivational cycle as human beings. You begin your motivational cycle because we talked about driving forces on day 1 or 2. You have your 2 driving forces. It's either desire or pain that are driving you into action. They drive you and they motivate you. And you're like, yeah, let's go, let's do this. And you begin your motivational cycle. You're like, da 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 and then the motivational cycle begins to dip. And then you get to the bottom of the curve. And this is where the majority of people fall off the bandwagon. Because they think that motivation and drive and excitement is the only thing that's going to move you forwards. And here's the piece is the people you see thriving, getting results that do not make sense, shifting, growing, transforming, doing all of this, is because they're not relying on being at the top of the motivational cycle all of the time. Those of us, I mean, if you've been following me for a while, you've seen the change. I'm a hippie, but I'm also a woman leader. Yeah, I've got my hippie side, I've got a woman leader side. You've seen a massive transformation in me. And the reason is, and I'm not relying on this top curve. I'm not just staying here. When I'm down here, I'm also doing the fucking work. When I don't feel like it, when I'm afraid, when patterns are coming up, when my old paradigms are trying to pull me back to safety, to what I know, to what's familiar. This is the part, this is where real change happens. When you've gone over the peak and you're on the other side, this is where the big things happen. Because in this curve, where you don't feel like it, when you've got to navigate really big decisions that feel scary and you're no longer motivated, this is where your belief in yourself, your trust in yourself, your confidence in who you are, your self-worth is built. It's not in the top of the curve. That's when it's exciting. You're like, yeah, I feel more confident. How about when you feel like shit? That is when true trust in self is built. Not when you're feeling great and motivated, when you're not feeling great. That's where it's built. So, and I watched, I don't know if you're familiar with Alex Hormozy and his wife. I think her name is Layla. I've started following her recently on YouTube. I'm like devouring everything that she's putting out there. I love how she says the things. She's so down to earth. And she was in between sets in the gym. And she was out of breath still. And she started recording something. And she was talking about this. I mean, these guys are multimillionaires, both of them, individually. And then they've come together as a couple. And they've come from nothing to where they're at. And she talks about this. She's like, there are times when the thoughts in my head are so negative, when I do not feel great. She said, actually, today I do not feel great. Today is a day I do not feel great. And I'm still at the gym. And I'm still doing my sets. And I'm still doing my reps. Because those of us who see thriving, we're not just doing the reps when our thoughts are telling us to do it, when our feelings are telling us to do it. We're doing the reps non-circumstantially. Whether it's exercise, nutrition, business, leading ourselves, visibility, scary big moves, we are doing them non-circumstantially. When we feel great, when we feel like poop. And this is what makes the difference. People want to do, it's like when it's all like rainbows and unicorns. You don't get to like float on the cloud of rainbows and unicorns if you're not willing to be showing up for yourself in the bad times. Because this is the thing, and you've heard me say this if you've followed me for a while, you've heard me say it before, may it land for you even more deeply this time. The most important relationship in this lifetime, the only marriage that will last you from the day you are born until the day you leave this physical body, is your marriage to yourself. And so what are the vows in marriage? Let's see if I can get the words right. I vow to be here in the good times and the bad, in sickness and health, until death do us part. So think of it like this. You are choosing to show up for yourself, to be courageous, to be present, to be kind, to be accepting with yourself until death do you part from this physical body. Until death takes you away, or death in this physical realm or this game, whatever it is, takes you away from the body that you're in, the avatar that you're in. And then whatever comes next. It's that level of commitment. This is where real change happens. It's when you're not saying, oh, I'm just going to do it to see if I get the result. I'm just going to do it because I'd like to have this thing. No, you do it because you do it. Full stop. There's no like if, when. There is no if and when in that story. You remove those words. A word I removed is the word but. You will very rarely hear me say the word but. And if and when. Only if it's followed by something super expansive. But even then, these are words that cage us in. We've not even got into the main part of it. Oh, so many amazing comments. If I understand correctly, Christina, you are here with us now. Amazing. Welcome, darling. Yeah, beautiful. So I'm not reading all of the comments as I want us to get into understanding the terror barrier. Even if you've done it before, it will land differently today. You can hear, if you've heard me teach it before, I'm teaching it very differently today. Understanding biology. If you've studied Bruce Lipton, so he was one of the first ones I started studying like 20 years ago, thereabouts. It was Bruce Lipton and all of that, epigenetics, your genes are not your destiny, understanding the subconscious mind. That was like my first introduction to this work. So if you haven't studied Bruce Lipton, if you haven't tapped into his teachings, that's a really good place to go. A summary of Bruce Lipton, because I know a lot of you will be familiar with this already, is between the ages of 0 and 7, is when the subconscious mind is video recording everything in the external world. Your biological form, including like the subconscious mind, it is incredible. Think of every single cell within your being is a single-celled organism that has evolved over billions of years. And it's understood that by forming communities in the biosphere that is your human form, it can survive and multiply much better than being alone. The cells of your body understand oneness. They understand togetherness. They understand symbiotic relationships. Yeah, your cells. So the community of the heart, the community of the stomach, of the intestines, of the skin. They understand the symbiosis of working together. This is something we're remembering as humans now, the symbiotic relationship of humanity. They have evolved. Your subconscious and nervous system programs, they're not you, they're your biology, surviving in a complex reality. It's not you. It's so that the cells, the life within you with the desire of expansion of itself can survive, thrive, propagate and create more of itself. So the subconscious mind is recording, it's like recording everything and creating these programs of how to, like paradigms, maps of how to work in this reality, yeah? To be able to eat, to be able to procreate, to be able to multiply, to be able to survive. We become so personally involved. It's like my personality, my identity, my traumas. And we become so attached to them. When we understand it is merely programs that have been learned through experiences, so as the body to survive, that's all it is. And when you can begin to understand it as such and realize that you have the power to choose your identity, to choose your programs, to choose your nervous system responses. And what is birthed from that is your external reality. And a path to this, and one you will be required to go through multiple times if what you want is healing, transformation and growth, is to go through the terror barrier. Because the identity of who you are Not all of this can be taken into where you are going. If what you desire, let's say you want to 10x your income, and you want to be serving really high-end clients who are super committed to what you offer. They're really excited to work with you. They want to work with you for years because they're really into what you're doing, and they're like, yes, this is me. And they're people you want to hang out with them. You have so much fun. That's your goal. And you're here, and you've never experienced any of that before. Let's say you've experienced 1% of it. You want to be over here, and there's a bridge. This bridge, you're going to go through a rebirthing process. Think of the phoenix rising from the ashes. Think of the butterfly, the caterpillar that goes through metamorphosis. Because what is logical to the unconscious mind and the nervous system here will not be able to produce this. Because if you logically believe in your unconscious, these results, you cannot produce these results. I know this is, let me know in the chat how this is landing. You might want to listen to this a few times if it's a new concept, or if you've not gone over it in a while. So to give you an idea, what we do in the school, it's not that I'm constantly teaching this, we're actually going through the processes. So as the things arise, as you're wanting to shift into a new identity, expand identities, heal programs, we're actually going through the processes together. And I'm guiding you through what to do, what to focus on, how to move past it, what to anchor in, what to program in, and how to do it. But understanding the science behind it is super useful to know why. Like, why am I doing this? So let me anchor this in for you in different words. When you believe that to make 10 times what you're currently making is not possible for a person like you, means that you are leaving people behind that need you, means that you're charging more than people can afford, means that you're becoming an evil person. If you have unconscious beliefs like those, or a multitude of others, you cannot get these results and hold them and feel safe. Your biology will resist it. It will say, this is not safe, I don't like it, let's go back to safety. And so if you don't cross the bridge, you end up sabotaging and going back to whence you came, going back to what you knew and staying there. And what happens when you do this, because you've probably done this in certain arenas of your life, you start walking over the bridge and then you encounter a few trolls. Well, you know, the inner trolls start coming up and going, rah, rah, rah. And you encounter them and you believe that is a reason to not continue on that path. Whatever it is, you're like, this is too scary, it's too hard, it's not for me, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, or this is bad, this is wrong, it makes me a bad person, I'm going to lose people in my life, whatever happens. And then you create reasons that seem logical to go back to where you were. And you're like, I got here, but I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back here because I know this place. This place is safe. I'm going to stay making the same money, serving people in the same way, burning myself out, going into overwhelm and anxiety. And at the beginning, you'll feel okay coming back here because you would have created so many reasons in your mind that it's actually okay. Until you find yourself going through the same cycle again, encountering the anxiety, encountering the overwhelm. If it's on a fitness journey, seeing the scales going up, clothes getting tighter, getting out of breath when you're running to the bus, whatever it might be. And you start seeing that again, you're like, oh. And so you start crossing the bridge. And maybe you get a little bit further this time and you encounter the trolls and you go back. The only way to cross the bridge from where you are to where you want to be is to face the trolls. I'm going to bring up Bob Proctor's. Now the trolls, we think the trolls are evil. Whereas, I don't know if you're of the generation of the trolls that had the colour hair. Like, you could buy the different ones, the one with the pink hair, the one with the green hair. Maybe you're too young for that, I don't know. This was a thing when I was a kid. The trolls are actually like that. They're super cute. You just got to have a conversation with them and understand that those trolls, which are fear-based programs within you, they are members of your family system that want good for you. They just believe that for you to be okay, you've got to stay where you are. And so the shift that happens to take you there, I'm now going to give it to you in context. So what sounds like is complex, you can see it through a real life scenario. Bob Proctor talks about this as bondage. So here, bondage. Bondage is when you don't realize that you're not okay. So you're here, things aren't going well, and then something in your life brings your attention to the fact that you're not okay. You have a health crisis. You see a photo of yourself. You can't pay your bills. A relationship breaks down. Something happens to take you from bondage to reason. Something causes you to awaken to the realization that you're not okay, that something wants to change. Reason is a place where you're just kind of dreaming. You're like, oh, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice to be healthier? Wouldn't it be nice to have a relationship that is X, Y, Z? Wouldn't it be nice to make more money? Reason is a place it's nice. You can make vision boards, but you're not doing anything about it. You're not emotionally invested. So there's no conflict. Because it's the moment, so stage 3 in Bob Proctor's 4-stage cycle is conflict. Conflict is going to happen when you become emotionally involved in your goal or your vision. You become emotionally involved in the desire because the conflict is between the identity, the beliefs and the habits of who you are and the identity and beliefs of habits of who you are becoming. Because you might be like, why do I need to become something? It's about becoming the version of you who has what you want. The version of you who believes that you are worthy of it, who believes that it's safe, who believes that it's normal, for whom it makes logical sense. And so on that path, the programs that caused you to be where you were will come to the surface. And it is up to you to understand that fear is not wrong. It is purely highlighting something that's ready to be healed for you to release and leave in your past. Because this is the work. So level 1 of the school, we also go very deep into this in the certification. So you're understanding through the context of your journey, but also how to help others with it. This is the work that we're doing. You're deciding what you want, and as the patterns, as the fear arises, as the programs come to the surface, we acknowledge them. We meet your shadows, and you get to see your shadow for what it actually is. Not what fear is telling you it is, for what it actually is. This is where self-acceptance is birthed. You know those parts of yourself that you're like, oh, I don't like this, oh, that feels uncomfortable, or I hate that part of myself. Self-acceptance, confidence, self-worth is built when you no longer reject or deny any part of yourself. You cannot deny a part of yourself and accept who you are. Self-acceptance is when you see the parts of you that are anchored into fear-based patterns, you see them for what they are, and you understand how to have a conversation with them. You understand, oh, there's that thought, there's that feeling, this is what it is, okay, this is what I do next. Rather than making it about you, making it about a trauma, making it about, and this is where we release the stuff. This is where freedom lies. It's not that your darkness ceases to exist. It is that it no longer has power over you. This is freedom. So this is actually the next stage. You go through the conflict, and the next stage of it is freedom. It is where there is no longer resistance to what you desire, and so what you desire is part of your life. Let me give this to you through context. Let me just check the... Love that. 50% hippie, 50% yuppie. Okay, amazing. Just answer the poll. Science is useful to not be called crazy. Yes. I love the science and the woo-woo because I'm the type of person who, I don't just, someone's like, visualize red and feel your root, and then you will heal all of the times that men have overstepped boundaries and touched your bodies in ways you don't want them to. I'm like, okay, but what's actually going on there? I like to know why. Connecting with the root chakra and learning to set a boundary and say, no, I want to know what's going on. Because this is actually the work, right? It's not just about visualizing a color and connecting with that. It's understanding that by learning to say no, stuff's going to come out. You might cry a bit and you might scream a bit, and then you release it. The traumas of the things that people have done to you in the past to your body that you didn't want them to because you did not know how to say no. Yeah, so what I love about the understanding the science behind it, it's like, okay, chakras, what is that about though? What's actually going on in unconscious? What are the biological systems that are being impacted? Like, what are we releasing? And then it really helps us to navigate the challenging things that might arise as we're releasing it. So let me give this to you in context. When I first invested non-circumstantially, so my first investment in, like big investment in non-circumstantial support with a coach and mentor was 15,000 euros. And this was at a moment in time when I didn't have that money. I didn't have that money. And I'd been going through the process of going from reason to conflict. Yeah, so I'd been in bondage and I was completely unaware. I was completely unaware that I was exceptional at what I do. I had tens of thousands of hours. So by that point, it was like 20 to 25,000 hours of experience in what I was doing. And I was still undercharging, like massively undercharging. And so I was in this financial anxiety loop. And so I decided, right, I'm starting my business from scratch and I'm doing this differently. And so I went from bondage to reason, and I started to see all of these patterns of my relationship with money and charging and overgiving and boundaries and seeing all of this stuff. I was aware of it. I was still in anxiety, but I was aware of it. A lot of awareness was coming to the surface. I was in reason. The moment I entered into a contract with this coach, I went from reason to conflict. And you might be like, why would I want to do that? Because on the other side of conflict is freedom. The moment I signed up with this coach was the moment I went to 5K months. Yeah. So the moment I signed with this coach, I made my first, I'm trying to remember how much, whether it was a 5K sale or a 6K sale, it was around that amount. That was when, it was a few weeks after I made that first sale. Because I went from thinking about it to committing to it, to choosing to be in a space that held me accountable to a standard where everybody else around me was also choosing to be held accountable to standards. And so it was normalizing the moves that were required of me, the standards that were required of me, and the support to navigate the fear, the programs, the patterns, all of the things. I was opening the doors of the school. And that was the moment. I can't remember the timeline. It was weeks or a month or maybe a month and a half before opening the doors of the school, I made that investment. I decided. I was super clear. I went on a live with this coach. I heard something she said. I even wrote this down. It's about being in the rooms where what you want is normal, not a far off dream. I heard it, I knew, I decided. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to make the money. I don't know where it's going to come from. This is what I choose. Within 1 week, I'd signed up with her. Within 1 week. I don't even remember how I managed to get the money together. I did, because I decided. It wasn't like, let's see. I was like, this is what I choose. And that decision of going into conflict, of knowing that I was going to be navigating the challenges of a new business, of holding people at a new level, of charging higher ticket, of leading myself. I knew I was going to go through conflict. And so I set myself up for success with the support systems, with the leader I wanted to work with, to be held non-circumstantially through the ups, the downs, the ins, then outs, for a minimum of a year. When I made that decision, my body went. One of the questions I posed, for those of you who are new in the group, you would have seen this. What is it that you're no longer willing to tolerate? What is it you're ready for? And one of the questions was, I'm done holding all of this alone. I choose to be supported. And that is the one. Everybody who answered that question, I think 99%, I think one person didn't answer it with that. Everybody else is like, I don't want to hold this alone anymore. Because I know if you were like I was, if you are like I was, you're strong, you're capable, you do so much, and you've probably been doing a lot of this on your own. Every now and then you get a bit of support, but not non-circumstantially. And you know, probably as you're hearing this, that this is your next move. Your next move is to be held in a way that it's expansive and feels like safety, because you know you're here for big things. You know you're here to change things. I know this sounds like a big statement, to change the world, to be a part of the change. And so you know, or maybe it's because you've decided to build life on your own terms, and you know the big change, big transformation, big results require big support. Requires that you have somebody who they themselves are held and they hold a high standard of integrity. So my invitation as you look at not just 2026, as you look at your life moving forwards, what is the non-circumstantial support for you? Where are you choosing not to be held because your mind is telling you, I don't have the time, I can't afford it, it's too much, it's not for me. These are the 4 reasons that most people hold themselves back. These are the 4 excuses we tell ourselves to not do what is required, to make the big move, the scary move, to lead ourselves, because making an investment like that is a terror barrier. It is a process of fear, of holding ourselves and leading ourselves to do something we've not done before at a level we've not done it before. Like, what is your move? If you want big results, big moves. If you want small results, small moves. Okay, I'm going to come to the comments. Reading my notes because I barely looked at them today. Literally just what I was about to do. Now I know why I needed to listen today, was to hear you say that so I could pull myself out of that cycle. When we can understand the cycles and we can see what we're navigating, then when it's challenging, we can remove the label of bad or wrong, and we can allow ourselves to be in what we're in. Because there are periods of time in, especially being a woman, right? Being in a female form, we really feel things. We really feel things. And we go through cycles of really feeling things. And so when we're going through, whether it's a day, a week, or a period of time where we're feeling stuff that doesn't feel great, when we can understand what it is, we can surrender whilst taking aligned action to move out of what we're feeling. So if you're in anxiety and moving towards burnout, or you're burnt out, it's knowing. Let's talk about burnout as an example, right? 1 day of rest and meditation, is that going to reverse burnout? 2 days, 3 days? So you're choosing another thought and you're choosing another action. It requires that you repeat it over a period of time before the feeling changes, before the biochemical responses in the body begin to change. And then you start to see that shift. And now, growth isn't like this. It can be like that, and it can also be like this. Yeah? It's not making it bad when we have a plateau, or when we have a funk, or when we're not seeing the results yet. I've shared a lot of different elements here, really powerful ones. My desire is that what's really stood out for you today, that it really, really lands. So I invite you to drop that in the chat. Like, through what we've covered today, what really stood out for you in this conversation. Love this. No CV, all in the live, pure luck. Thank you again. Can pay the bills, can love, can make money. My mantra, happy as usual. Amazing. And then it is also about when we want to reach another level of income, first we have to know what it is to feel safe, that money leaving as well as entering. Yeah, if you don't feel safe with that larger amounts of money leaving, then you will become so attached when they come in. It's understanding money wants to be like a river that can flow. That you're not stagnating the river by putting in a dam and trying to keep everything in, like grasping. Because this is sometimes what people coming into the school, for example, they're navigating. The money is there, the possibility is there, but they put a dam in the river. And they become so accustomed to the water staying on one side, they're afraid to lift a rock and allow some of that to trickle through to create life on the other side of the dam. So if you understand that when we're on the journey of growth, when it comes to investing, for example, sometimes before money can go up, it goes like this, and then it goes like this, yeah? I'm trying to think the alignments of some of the biggest investments I've made straight after I've had like biggest sales ever, biggest cash month ever, again, biggest sales month ever, biggest year ever, has been just after an investment. And it's not just about the investment itself, it's about the identity shift and the nervous system shift that I lead myself through as I'm making the investment. It is the narrative I have around the investment. I choose this because I can, because of what it's leading me towards, because I'm making this investment not based on current circumstance, it's based on where I'm going. So if I know, I can see where I'm going, and I can see the leadership, like the next level of leadership that's required, the next level of education, the next level of support, the next level of systems. So I know these things. I'm like, so I want to see my business at this place at the end of this year. So what do I do now to make that possible? A lot of people, what they will do is they will invest now based on what they've currently got, and they're like, and they're trying to move towards this bigger goal from this really tight place. What is that doing? You're assuming into your future that you will always be making the same, and so what do? You create more of the same. When you assume into your future you will be making more, the bigger investment now feels less scary, because you know that you're going to be 10xing the investment that you've made, however long it takes, because of who you are, how you show up, and how committed you are. Yeah, opening to the mysteries of the body, the holographic brain, holographic universe. This is another really interesting thing to study. Completely resonate with not being aware of what I have to give. Undercharging, overgiving. I've been working on this and 2026 is the year that version of me doesn't get to come with me. Yes. So my question here is, where have you been allowing that version of you to continue thriving? Where have you been showing up in alignment with the version of you who overgives and undercharges? Where have you been staying safe because the stretch scares you? That's where the change happens. What is the stretch that scares you that you've not been doing that is time to do? Because that's where the identity shifts. And this is the thing, in the first, there's lots of gold here, should be charging for the session. With the first few times you do something, so Sally, let's say you've been undercharging for your mentorship program, right? Sally's in the school, if you're wondering how I know so much about what Sally's doing. So let's say with your mentorship program that you realise, I reckon you're undercharging for it, by the way. If you realise you're undercharging for it, the first few times you put up your prices and you put them out there and you're selling it, you're not going to feel comfortable. It's about going there anyway and leading yourself and guiding yourself through being uncomfortable until you come out the other side. I know you've already done this because you've raised your prices multiple times. Yeah? I'm inviting you to take a leap you've never taken before. And then when you get to the other side, you're going to look back and go, oh, the price I'm charging now is actually way too little. When you've let's say you triple your prices. You get to the other side, you've navigated the discomfort, you've cleared the stories that come up, you've shifted into the new identity, and then you look back and you're like, oh, wow. How did I not see this sooner? I was charging so little. And it will make so much logical sense. It's about navigating that part in between. Being in the rooms where what you want is normal, love that. Yes, Caroline. I can totally see you being in the school with us, darling. This is one of the rooms. Terror barrier landed more than the first time I heard it. Yes, this is the thing, right? With these teachings, it is about hearing them until we embody them. It doesn't work to read a book and then go, well, now I know the thing. Until you're embodying it, you don't understand it. Until you're living it, and that makes logical sense, and you're experiencing those results, then it hasn't landed. You've understood parts of it, but you're not living it yet. Scarcity but no more. I'm stretching already a lot, but still think I'm not stretching enough money-wise. I'd love to buy a van and a small land to grow food and maybe do crypto, but I don't do it. I have excuses always. So my invitation is we take the focus away from the money. So Mimi, I know you're running a business. We don't focus on the money. We focus on bringing the value above and beyond the money we're calling in. This is when you thrive in business. Wayne Dyer would talk about this. If you want to make more money, serve more people. Or serve people at a greater level. Bring more value. This is how it works. So we've potentially been taught it's about taking more. We don't realise that we operate at this level. It's like I want to take more to receive that money. It's about expanding into more. More service, more value, more joy, more excitement, more bliss, more flow. More of that, money comes in. It's the natural frequency of more within self invites more into your reality. So this is really where we shift the focus. So tier 2 in the school is business. We talk a lot about strategy, like how do you understand the ecosystem of your business? How do you build up a thriving business with no glass ceiling? So you're consistently building something that can grow into greater and greater levels of time freedom and financial freedom. And a huge part of this is understanding we're not focusing on the money, we're focusing on how do you become more? How do you become more aligned, more expansive, more value, more giving from abundance with clear boundaries? It's where you expand into your fullest potential and you remove the limitations, the glass ceilings. Yeah, was it Guy Hendricks talked about glass ceilings? We put these glass ceilings on ourselves. And it's about removing those. And so as you grow into or expand into greater and greater levels of your potential, your bliss, your joy, your passion, your excitement, as you expand into that, everything's got to clear and heal to get there, right? Then the byproduct is you make more money. You attract people that want to pay you more. You attract people that want to work with you consistently. Yeah, this is why with the school, the beginning of the year, all of those sales have been repeat customers because of the way that I work in the school. The value that I give, I'm consistently bringing more, serving at a greater level, cleaning stuff up. How does it get better? How does it get better? Those of you who were in the school 2 years ago, it's not the same space. It is entirely different. So when you work in that way, people naturally, when you're like, da, 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 people naturally want to follow. They're like, I want to come along, you're having a lot of fun, you're growing so fast, I want to be a part of that. It's a natural byproduct. Okay, did I miss any? You get my face squinting at the screen. So, it is now 11:11 on my computer, so this is a perfect moment. We have touched upon identity, nervous system, unconscious, moving through fear, motivational cycles, human needs. We've talked about a lot of things. These are all things that we have very grounded conversations around in the school. So I don't have one of my books on me to serve as a prop. Pretend it's a book. So recently, for example, in our awakening session, so awakening is level 1. Awakening is about awakening to your fullest potential, awakening to healed, trusting relationship with yourself, with your body, with money, with life, with love. It's about awakening to happiness every morning. So in our first level, all of these things we're covering, we study them. We break them down in a grounded way. We come back to them again and again. It's this drip feed. It's where you place your attention and focus on a regular basis is where you move towards. So it's this consistent drip feed of the lessons, of the actions, of the frequency, of the reminders, of the perspective shifts that take you to where you want to go. Level 1 is where we do the healing, the knowing thyself. So that when it comes to people who are running a business, those of you who you're either wanting to build one or you run one, level 2, strategy becomes fun. Strategy becomes easy because the only thing that gets in the way of strategy being successful is how you think and feel about yourself, money, strategy, clients, and business. The only thing. Because what creates success in business? So what I teach in this level is the emotional side, yes, but it's also understanding the ecosystem of your business. How it works together, the symbiotic relationship of all of the elements. So you learn what it is to be able to see, oh, this isn't working, this part of the ecosystems, it wants watering, it wants tending to. Rather than getting into cycles of it's about me, I'm not good enough, people aren't setting up. Yeah, we clear that stuff so you can see, oh, this part of my ecosystem isn't working. Let's upgrade this. Oh, this part of my ecosystem is ready for an up level. We up level this. Any programs that come up that tell you that it's about you, we clear it so you can actually focus on the logic of success, because success is logical. Yeah. I didn't let you know I've gone straight into telling you about the school. Level 3. Level 3 is the certification. Those of you who you're thinking you want to chat with me about the school, or you know that you're ready for this sort of support, if you can come in at the level of the certification, if you can gift yourself that level now, I highly, highly recommend you do it. So when you join at level 2, you have levels 1 and 2 included. When you join at level 3, you have everything included. So level 3 includes, we have an in-person in October, and then here in Spain, overlooking the beach, incredible views. The space that I'm renting is insane. I'm very excited. We've got this space on the top of the roof of this hotel that overlooks the beach, and I've rented it for us to do meditation in the mornings, for us to have a practice in the morning where we're going to watch the sunrise together, be in reverence of the beginning of the day. Maybe we'll start the day in silence. I'm still sort of creating it in my mind. We get to watch the sunrise on the roof before we go down and do the work in this room with glass windows that overlooks the beach. So it includes that, and it also includes the VIP upgrade. So this is where you have the most intimate contact with me without having one-on-one. Yeah, so this is the space like the one that I invested in, 10K. It's that sort of space where we're going through the conversations in real time, and this is where massive shifts happen. If you can join the certification, the reason why it's really exciting to join the cert is what you're learning in level 1, what you're applying in level 1, you're going a whole other level in level 3. This is where you're not only learning to become a master coach and spiritual mentor, we go through internal family systems. We go through understanding the psychology of the human experience. We delve in to the human experience, like all of the levels, understanding the body, understanding the mind, understanding the soul. We go through the frameworks of how to heal yourself, but also how to lead your clients. Like, how do you take a client on a journey? What does that look like? So there are people who join the certification who don't want to lead clients. They purely want, like people take yoga teacher training because they want to learn all of the things. It's the same. People join the cert because they're like, I am ready for that level of transformation. So I have the prices. Thursday, this is going to be like a grounded conversation. I'm kind of thinking maybe we do it on Zoom. I'm going to think about it. I will drop all of the details in the Facebook group because that's where we get to have a conversation around success, business, the school, support, all of those sorts of things. For those of you who want to join now before the 14th of January, we're actually going to honour the previous stage of the launch's pricing. Okay, so we were actually in the final stage of the launch. I decided we're going to honour the prices that we had before until the 14th of January. I decided to take time off to do my own healing work, so I've been quiet for a while. This is why I'm doing these prices. So it would have been down from 10,000 euros, it would have been 7,500. So if you join in the next stage of the launch, it will be 7,500 to join at level 2 for 1 year. Yeah? It would have been 10,000 to join for the certification. If you join before the 14th, it's 6,500 to join level 2. It's 7,500 to join level 3. I'm going to go through things very quickly today because Thursday is where you can pose questions. If you've got questions about what I'm sharing, send me a DM with those because I will cover those on Thursday. This is a year-long minimum. Yeah, quite a few of my clients have a rolling. They sign up for the next year. After 6 months, they sign up for their following year. Then after the next 6 months, they sign up for their following year. This is a long-term container. This is about you being held when you're leaning back, when you're leaning in, when you're going sideways. Yeah, it's about through all of the things. The idea of 12 months is you can't see the end point. So when you enter the space, it's like the end point is so far off in the distance, you can relax into slowing down and actually allowing yourself to go through the processes. I think I've shared enough for today. Do you have any questions before we sign off? Do you have any questions? Sally's like, I'm obsessed with the awakening space. Yeah. And this is the thing, Sally, you're on your 3rd year, right? As we start the next round. And this is the thing is, because we're continually expanding and growing, there's always something new to learn. And it is beautiful. It doesn't have to be from a place of pain. It's beautiful to be, meeting another part and another layer. I'm going to, because usually when we do an event, it's planned in advance, and one of the students comes in and shares their experiences. And so you actually get to hear, not from me, from somebody who's in the school, what it's like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the sessions where students have shared, and I will drop those videos or the YouTube links in the Facebook group. If you would like me to send them to you directly, just let me know and I can send you the link so you can meet students. You can see the type of women in the space. You can see the transformations that they went through making the decision to join, and then since they've been in. Then you can hear it from them as well, just how awesome it is being in the school space. I think it might even be year 4, I'm not sure. I'm not sure either, Sally. I need to go through. I was going through the system and I only found sessions back to February 2023. So it's like, maybe is that when we started? I'm not sure. I need to go back through the timeline. Okay. Ladies, it has been wonderful, these sessions with you. Yeah, and you know me. In Thursday's session, there'll be a lot of really powerful messages come through. It's always the case. And as you've seen, I love to give a lot of value in the free sessions. And one of the big reasons for this is when you're entering a container like the school, it's a year commitment, so it's a long time. Yeah. So it's not just that you're leading yourself through a financial investment, it's also the time investment of being in a space for a whole year. So these sessions, I lead them as I lead all my sessions. Okay, there's a little bit more high energy because it's about momentum and activation. In the school, we're very grounded. It's so you get to see the true essence of what it is to be in a space like the School of Holistic Success. Links by email, of course. Fela's like, I feel it's year 4 too. We'll have to go through the database and see, because it'd be good to know the timeline, right? Because when I'm sharing, I'm like, am I sharing the right dates? I'm not sure. Okay, loves. So I'm going to check the poll as to which is the most popular time. I will go live on Thursday and I will drop in the Facebook group all of the things, and maybe via email at some point as well. The Facebook group, definitely. Testimonials, the time of the next thing, prize draw, make sure you let me know that you've participated, that you've invited your people. Otherwise I won't know to put your name down. And that is all. Love you guys. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your commitment. And I will see you on Thursday.